Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. You guys may think that I strategically did this. That's fine. I can tell you it actually just fell that way. As we're entering our weekend, today is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. This song actually this is just where it landed because I'm doing everything in order. And it just happened to work out well that today's song is Weekend Warriors as we prepare for the weekend. I wish I had the foresight to have made that happen, but it just worked out very well. When I think of the term Weekend Warriors, I think about those people that go and play like guns in the woods, like paintball or whatever, or musicians that go and they'll just jam on the weekends, when they're free from having to get up early to go to work on a Tuesday. And, it could have a lot of different meanings for different people. But what's interesting is I just had received an email from the Fantasy Rock Camp, and it was a video of Steve Morse from Deep Purple and Dixie Dregs talking about going down to this rock camp. This is in South Florida. And you can actually go down and jam with these world famous musicians. It's a really incredible opportunity. It's kind of costly, but how often do you even get a chance to meet somebody like Steve Morse, let alone actually go and bring your guitar and jam with the guy, and there's, I think Nico McBrain is going to be there. Or maybe he's at the Vegas one that's coming up. I can't remember. But it's such a great opportunity. So if you guys haven't heard of this or are interested, go check out I'll try and find the link and put it in the show notes, but go just do like a search for Fantasy Rock Camp and see if there's one near you. I know that they've done them in Florida, LA, here in Vegas. I'm not sure if they've done them anywhere else or where those might be. But of course, with travel restrictions and all that, there might be some additional challenges with COVID right now. But if you have the opportunity and if you have the interest, guys, how many chances in life are you going to get to do something like this? Just go do it. I remember seeing an ad on Facebook that they were looking for extras for the movie Jason Bourne. And I thought, you know what, that sounds like fun. And a quick backstory on that. When I first moved to Colorado, I was 15. And of course, that was before I could drive. And Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the one with Sean Connery, they were doing some filming in Colorado, and they had put an advert in the paper that they were looking for extras. And of course, I couldn't get down there. I didn't really know anybody. Nobody that I knew wanted to go. So I was kind of stuck, and I didn't get to participate in that movie. I don't know what scenes they were. I actually never really paid attention to what it was, but it was probably for like the, what was it? The blimp scene or something like that, when there's all those people in the chairs in the dining cart or whatever. But so I thought when the Jason Bourne thing came out, I thought, why not? Why not? It's like one day out of my life. And they've been filming here for a while. They blocked off good chunks of the strip. They did, smashed into one of the hotels that was about to be imploded. It was really cool, but I got to shoot with them for one day over at the Aria in this giant conference room that I didn't even know existed. It's so well hidden, but it's huge. And I actually got to be in one of the scenes. I made it into the trailer. I made it into the film, only if you know where to look, because there were 1,500 extras there that day. But it was the biggest scene that Paul Greengrass, the director, had ever shot, and the biggest scene that Matt Damon had ever shot as far as the number of people he was working with at one time. In the scene at one point, I think he was about maybe 12 to 15 feet from me. I didn't get to meet him, of course, but it was a really amazing experience. So my reason for telling you this story is, if you guys want to go do something like that, if you want to go be a weekend warrior, you know what? Go do it. Take advantage. Life is too short. It's too easy to sit here and say, well, I got to do this or I got to do that. Just make it happen if you want to do it. Don't look back on your life and go, what would have happened if I would have just gone and done this or done that? If it interests you, go do it. Take advantage. And with that, which may have had nothing to do with this song whatsoever, we will see. Here is Weekend Warrior by Uriah Heep. Wow. Let's talk about that synthesizer intro. That was really cool. That could have easily been the score to an action scene or a suspense scene, maybe something in sci-fi. Very cool. I really love that. I love that helicopter blade feel. Love the tones. I love that almost like a warning siren, but not a warning siren. Just kind of, depending on where your mind goes, you could get that impression. You could feel that something intense is about to happen, or maybe you're in danger. Really love that opening. And then, of course, we kick in with a great drum roll, and then there's the band. Yeah, I'm hearing at least 3 guitar tracks. You've got the main rhythm, then you've got the solo, and then you've got another one that comes in at the end of the phrase each time it repeats. But I love going from that really interesting action-sounding synthesizer work to, just a good up-tempo rock song. Okay, well, I really love the verse because it just has a good groove to it. I think what's really making it for me is what Bob Daisley and Mick Box are playing there. Just that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I really like that. It adds just a whole dimension to it that wouldn't be there if they were just playing rhythm. It really makes it more interesting, and that goes to the fill-in things that I've been talking about quite a bit with this lineup in the change of sound with the band. Now, for those of you who are not musicians, basically they're doing that within a measure. So a measure in this case is going to be 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. And to achieve, 12 notes when there's only 4 beats, you would have to play them as what's called a triplet. So for every beat, you have 3 notes. So you count 1, but you would be da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. So to go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you've got 4 beats, and that's 3 notes for each beat, which gives you the 12 notes. It's 6 notes that repeats. And it's really nice. It just blends right in. It doesn't feel like it doesn't work with the song, even though it really is a standalone part. I really love this style of playing. Then we get to what would be the pre-chorus, which is really this sort of ominous thing that goes back to the intro. As far as the feeling of it goes, like something's about to happen, something's coming. It's just kind of a feeling of being a little bit unsettled, and I think that's really cool. It's very unexpected. I would not have thought once the band kicked in, I wouldn't have thought we would have a part like that, which is really nice. And then, of course, we're hitting the chorus, which is Peter Goalby just singing his heart out. This is really cool, but I love that little run that Mick and Bob are doing. Lee's got a really cool beat that he's playing here. I really like that. It's very similar to the beat of Blind Eye from Magician's Birthday. But yeah, really, really good groove in this song. One thing that I really like about this song, especially this last passage that we listened to, is that we really get to hear what Bob Daisley is up to. I feel like a lot of what we've listened to on the last couple of albums, just because of the way that the mix is done, he's getting a little bit buried, especially compared to what we're used to with Uriah Heep, because they've always been a band where the bass stands out. He's certainly earning it with his playing, but he's not really getting it in the mix as much as I'm used to, at least with these guys. But this is a place where he's definitely standing out. I like that Mick is doing something different and not just following the pattern of the last one, but yet Bob Daisley's keeping it up. That's really good because it's more subtle when it's done as bass as opposed to the lead guitar. But also you still get the feel of it. You don't feel like this verse is emptier or lacking of anything because you're still getting that part, but you're getting a different focus of it, which I really like. I like the idea of changing things like that from verse to verse. That sounds really good. And, the rest of the time with the straight notes he's playing, he is just playing his ass off, and definitely somebody that deserves a lot of credit. Why is that drum roll so quiet? Here, when you hear a drum roll like that in a part like this, one of two things is likely to come next. Either A, you're going to double the part that you just did, or B, you're leading into a solo. And it's so weird because that is a great fill. It's got a lot of power to it. It's really energetic and melodic as well, but it's just buried so far back in the mix. And that's really, along with the panning, I think that's the other problem. And again, if the drums were panned out more, it would stand out more. Even if you had less volume, you would be able to hear it better. So it's kind of a combination of a lower volume and lack of panning. But I think that's the thing that this album really does suffer for, as I've mentioned before. But this is a real obvious example of what doesn't work with the sound, because that should be something like I should be feeling that in my chest, gearing up for the next part. You hear the keyboard swell, it's coming, something's about to happen, and then we've got these drums that are just on the other side of the room. So I feel like as powerful as this song is, and it does have a really good edge to it, I just feel like we're losing a little bit in this particular mix. Oh, what a great transition. I love that. That was excellent. And I want to be fair too. I'm working off of one particular version of the album. So maybe when they went to, mix this one or do the remaster, I should say, everything just kind of went in that funnel of centered panning. So I don't know if that was intentional or just oversight, or if the actual original album was done that way, because I don't think I've ever really scrutinized the actual original album. All I can say is what I'm hearing on the deluxe reissue is, really what I'm reacting to. But I'll have to go find, a version of the original and see if it was done the same way. I'm very curious now, because I think we're losing a lot of the dynamics. I mean, imagine that solo, which was a really kick-ass, powerful solo. But imagine if there was just a pumping bass drum there and a snapping snare drum to really, deliver the energy that was coming from the guitars and the bass guitar. I think it sounds good. I mean, I still like the song. The mix isn't to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I can't listen to this. But it's certainly, I think that it would have enhanced the songs more had it been done more traditionally. But again, things were different in the 80s, especially the early 80s. They were trying to experiment with a lot of sounds. The British New Wave was kicking in, MTV, all that stuff. Is just a different time in music. So this very may well have been a choice, or, something that they were doing at the time. I've never really sat down and listened to specifically music from this to analyze mixes, but that very well could be what was going on here. Well, that was an interesting transition. Did not expect that at all, but that was really cool. Normally, well, there was a time, again, I have to go back and say that this was primarily an 80s thing where there was a lot of that, just hit the kick in the cymbal, choke the cymbal, just psh, psh, and, the band would follow suit while one or two instruments would carry on. But it's definitely out of place. And I don't mean that in a bad way, just not expected right here. Usually it's done a little bit differently, but I think it's really cool. It was a nice surprise. Love that there's just a slight phaser on the vocals through that part too. Not something that's going to be so noticeable, but something that gives you just a little bit of an ethereal touch. And that really works well with the intro and with that pre-chorus. Nice that really kind of comes full circle. Yeah, I really love that. The song just rides off with the wind. Just fantastic. I like that there's a little bit of flange in there too. Again, a throwback to what we heard earlier. Great ending, really powerful. Love the licks that Mick is putting in there in between and over the vocals. Just a great, powerful rock song, I really feel like this band at this point is just, it's a different band. They're not doing the same kind of musical storytelling that they were before. They're playing a little bit more straightforward, but they're being more musical, more melodic in a way that they weren't before. And, I've heard people say that this was a great era of the band. I've heard people say it wasn't. The fact is you have to choose that for yourself. Either you like it or you don't, or you like some songs and you don't like others. It's a different band. And you just kind of have to say, well, this isn't the David Byron era. This isn't the John Lawton era. This is this era. This is where the band was completely torn apart and rebuilt, almost all new people. And that's just the way that it is. We'll see you in the next episode, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Remember, take a moment and do something good for yourself and do something good for somebody else. And check out that BMG box set. It's coming soon. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!